So today we're going to talk about batch printing or publishing as it's known for. On my screen right now I have a lot of different drawings open, and as you can see some of them are done in the layout tabs, and I have one in here that has multiple layout tabs, and I have some of them that are drawn in model. When you typically use batch plot, you're going to typically either choose one or the other, but you can do both, just to let you know. And the second thing is that you do not have to have the drawings actively open, and I'll show you that once I get to the publish command. But what I'm going to do first is show you how to set up your publishers, just so you can basically set it up to do it right, or to set it up to your printer or what application that you want to use it for. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new drawing. And when I open this new drawing, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to tell it to basically name some plot styles. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be in the model tab, and I'm looking here at the bottom left, and you can see that I am in the model tab. What I like to do is just draw a line, and it doesn't matter the size of that line, so it can be any length that you want. And the reason that I'm doing that is just so I can zoom to the extents. And I'm doing this for a specific reason, is that mainly because when you're going to print something, you don't know the exact size of it, and you don't want to print it all. Now, I'll caution you and tell you that if you got multiple drawings inside of your model tab, basically if you have a drawing here and another drawing here and another drawing here, publish is not going to work for you. In that case, what I would recommend you do is set up different layout tabs for each of the sheets. Okay, so once you have your line created here, I'm just going to go to print, and you can easily do a Control P, or you can come down and go to the print dialog. And right now it's asking me, since I have multiple drawings open, do I want to learn about publishing? Well, that's what I'm showing you here. I'm just going to continue with the single sheet plotting, and if you don't want this error message to keep coming up, you can always hit this checkbox. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it continue with the regular single plot. Okay. So now this is where you're going to set up your plotter. So if you have any kind of plotter that you're going to typically plot to, and you can see here I have a multiple ones. I'm just going to use my regular printer here at home. And then I'm going to set this one up. So once again, I don't know the size of drawing that I'm going to be printing, but I do know the paper size of or the capabilities of my printer. So for example, this printer here at my house is a smaller one, so it's only capable of doing an 8.5 by 11, which is perfect because some of these drawings I have behind you, or that's displayed up here, are a lot bigger. So I want it to print a letter size. I'm going to tell it to use extents, and once again, if you did not create that line here, you will not get the extents option. I'm going to tell it to center it, and I'm going to also tell it fit the paper. And if you want it to print black and white, go ahead and set up your monochrome here. And I'm going to apply this to everything. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to name a plot style here. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Epson. And once again, you can name it whatever you want. And what I recommend that you do is at least put the size of print paper that you're going to print this to. So for example, I know an 8.5 by 11 is an A-size piece of paper. So I'm going to name it Epson, and I can put the whole name behind it if I have multiple one of these. And then I'm just going to say OK. And now you can see that I do have one that's called Epson. Okay? I can hit the OK button, and I can also add this to the layout. And what I like to do is hit OK. So now I have one print style set up for an Epson. And you can see now it's going to go ahead and print this out. And what I actually should have did was had it cancel it. Okay? Okay, so that takes care of my Epson printer. If I had one, or I had a printer that could do a B size, I would create another one. But I'm just going to go back to the print box like I did. And this time I'm just going to use Control P. And it should come up with that message again. But once again, I'm just going to tell it to continue. And if you don't want to see this message, by all means, you can check this box. Okay, so I do have one that's called Epson. I'm going to go ahead and add another one. And in this case, I'm going to name it as a PDF because I want to create a PDF that can do an A size. So I'm going to have a PDF that does an A size. What I like to do is always use the DWG to PDF. And then I'll pick an A-size piece of paper in here. And I usually like to put mine in the landscape mode. So therefore, I'm going to make the bigger number in front. So it's going to be an ANSI full bleed A-size 11 by 8.5. Okay. Let me go ahead and change this back because it seems to have changed it. And I should have saved it when I did it because you're going to see that that's going to go away. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to DWG to PDF, ANSI full bleed, 11 by 8.5. Once again, extents only is going to pop up because I have that line drawn in the back. I'm tell it to fit and things of that nature. I'll go ahead and apply this, or I'll hit the add button in this case, and I do need to make that PDF A size, and I need to delete the other one. And yes, it's saying that I'd have one name that way. Do I want to redefine it? And I'm just going to say yes. So I'm recording or copying over it. All right, so this is my A size, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit the cancel button just so it doesn't print. Go back to Control B. And this time I am going to check this box off as I'm going to do one more. Well, I'll leave it on since I'm only going to create one more. And this time I'm going to use a ANSI DWG, and I'm going to make a B size, which is going to be my 17 by 11. Once again, extents is on because I have that line. The box is checked. Fit to paper. Monochrome is on. And I'm going to add this one and call it a PDF B size. Okay, you can see the name is here. And I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. Alright, now I'll switch to Layout tab 1. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I just did. Control P. It's going to ask me to go ahead and do that. I'll just hit the checkbox and just acknowledge it. And you can see that I have to create new ones for the Layout tab. So this is one of those things that most people don't do. They don't do one for the layout, or they'll do one for the model space and don't do it for the other one. What I recommend you do is at least do some for both of them. And then that way you can apply them no matter whichever way you do. But by all means, if you don't use the Layout tab, there is no need to do them. Or if you don't print from model space, you don't need to do that as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it set to none. I'm going to do a DWG to PDF. I'm going to use it as an A size. So ANSI full bleed A size. Once again, extents. I'm going to check this box. Fit to paper, and I'm just verifying that monochrome is on. And what I like to do on this one is call it a PDF, and make sure I don't have to type the word layout behind it, but this is one of those things that'll let me know when I'm using Publisher that this one is applying to a Layout tab as opposed to a Model tab. Okay, so I have a PDF Layout A. Okay. I'm going to apply this to the layout, cancel, Control P. I'm just continuing it, and once again, remember you can always check that box if you don't want this. So I'm going to create a new one. So once again, it's already on DWG to PDF. I can make this a B size. So it's ANSI B 17 by 11, it's extents. Everything else should remain the same. Go ahead and add this name, PDF Layout B. Go to OK. Apply it to the layout. And then I am going to create one more. So in this time, instead of hitting the cancel button and going back out, I also could just come and select the printer. And you can see that it will change to none. I'm going to make this one, and it looks like my printer is capable of doing that, but I'm just going to make it a letter size. Extents. Once again, everything else should remain checked. I'm going to go to Add, and this is going to be my Epson. Layout B. Sorry, A. And I can make one for a B size if I want to, but once again, I only use that printer to print out A size. and hit the OK button. And now you can see underneath the drop down I have these three. Alright, I'll go to cancel. Now this is the next important thing that you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and save this file. And you want to make sure that you save it somewhere where you know where it's at. So, for example, I'm just going to save this file on my desktop. And I may already have one on here called plot. No, I don't. Good. So I'm just going to name this as plot. And then that way I'll always know where my file is at. So put this somewhere where you're going to always use it. Or if you're at a company and you want multiple people to use it, put it in a place where all of y'all can get to. Okay. So it's named and it's going to be saved as plot. And you can see that that now is the name of it. You can go ahead and close that file since you don't need it open anymore. Okay, back to the batch print or the publish. So I'm going to kind of walk you through most of these drawings. So everything that you're seeing right now is layout. This is a layout tab, layout tab, layout tab. And once again, if I go back to the one that has the arc on it, you can see that I have two different sheets here. And the ones from the word day here are going to be all of my model space. Okay, so like I was saying, you would usually select one or the other, or you don't have to have the drawings open at all. If you do have them open, it makes it really convenient for you if you use the publish command. Other than that, you just have to navigate to where they're located. Alright, so we're going to use the publish command, our batch plot. Here it is. It's called publish. Once I hit the publish command, you should get a dialog box that's going to appear. And you can see that this has all of the drawings that I have open right now. It has the layout tabs and the model space tab. Now, if you don't want this to appear and show all of this, and this is one of those things that if your company or you only do drawings in the layout or you only do them in the model tab, in this white area, do a right click, and then you can tell it which ones you want to exclude. Okay? So for example, if I want to exclude the ones with layout tab, so I'll check this box. Now it won't go away instantly, but I'm going to have to go back and delete those ones out. And then once I do one successful plot, or publish in this case, then the next time I open this dialog box, it won't appear. All right. So for example, and I'll come back and I'll show you that. You can see that I have the layout tabs turned off. So all of these drawings that have layouts associated with them, and that's from the assignment 8 all the way to basic 2, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. So I'm just going to scroll to the top, and I'm hitting the delete button on my keyboard all the way until I get to the word day. Alright, so day is here. I'm going to get rid of these two layouts. Arc. I'm getting rid of the layouts. Here's example 2. Get rid of the two layouts. And basic 2. Getting rid of those two layouts. And finally gasket. And, oh, I forgot, basic 2 has a layout tab, so I'll go ahead and get rid of that. So what you see now is I have these 4 drawings open. Okay, so by default, AutoCAD has some things in there you can use. So what I mean by that is if I want to just go ahead and print this to a PDF, it's going to do that. So I can go ahead and check this box and go PDF, and then I get some publishing options. And what I can do is I can create multiple sheet files, or I can collapse them into one. Alright, there's also another option that you can use to do that, and I'm going to show that to you here in a second. But you can also browse, so make sure that you know where your files are going, and this is going to happen regardless of if you use a plot style or if you decide to use the publish option that's in here. The only thing that I don't like about this option is that I don't get to set the paper size. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel on this, because I still want it to go to this location. You can see that it's going to do multiple sheets, and it's basically product to whatever the name of it is, right? Here's some other stuff, and these just all of these are PDFs. If I go to DWG to PDF, all of these publishing options are the same, so they don't change. The only thing that I'm going to highlight once again is that you go ahead and make sure that you have it browsed where you're located. All right, so I tend to don't use this. It's a real neat option, but I'm just going to change it back to this, and you can see all of these options get grayed out except for the location. So I do have the location of where I want it to go. Okay. If you want to use what you just set up, so if you had a printer or something of that nature that you want to specifically do, what I recommend you do is highlight all of these, go to the drop down, go to the word import. This is going to allow me to open up where that file is at. So I'm going to select desktop, and I'm going to scroll down to the word plot. So remember, that's the file that I have. I'm going to go to import, and now you can see that those are the imports of those files that I created. Okay? So here I can select an A size, and all of these are going to print out on that A size. Now, one thing I will tell you about is that at this point, I don't know if it's going to print them out as each individual sheets or if it's going to print them out as one sheet together. There's a command that's going to control that. All right. Unfortunately, in order for me to activate that command, I do have to get out of this. So when I open this back up, it's going to bring open all the layout tabs and the model tabs because it's not a successful publish. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. And it's going to say, do I want to save these in a list of sheets? And in this case, I'm going to go no. Okay. So the command that you're going to have to use to tell it to how you want this set up, especially if you're making a PDF. If you're printing to a printer, it doesn't matter. But a PDF, you're going to have to type in the word publish, collate. All right. So now it's going to give you, it's asking me for a variable. And the variable is either 1 or 0. And let's go ahead and look at in the help menu what publish correlate do. So I'm going to come up here and I'll type in publish correlate. And remember, it's one word. And it's a system variable. And now you can see that if I let that value be 0, it's going to publish the sheet set and process one sheet at a time, which means that if I'm making a PDF, it's going to create them as individual PDFs. So that way you're going to have each one of these drawings are going to have its own PDF. If I leave that set to 1, then that means they're going to be all lumped into one PDF together. So you're only looking for one PDF and all of that stuff is created. All right. So what I like to do is if I know what I'm going to publish or print, I usually with PDFs, you like to group them in together, but there are some chances that you just want to make each individual sheet of each one of them. So remember the command for that is going to be the publish correlate command. Okay. So I'm going to go back to publish correlate. And you can see that it's asking me for what's the value that I want. By default, it is set to 1, which means that when I publish our batch plot, all of my files are going to come out in 1. Okay, let's go back to the publish command. And yours may be called bat plot, but they're exactly the same thing. And remember what I said, that when I come back to this, all of those are going to be open again because I did not do one successful one. So in this case, I'm going to take out the layout tabs again. I'm going to get rid of all the ones all the way until I get to the word day. And then you can see all the ones have the word model behind them. And this basic test, I can get rid of all 3 of those. And the word gasket, I have 2 of them. Oh, get rid of that one. All right, I'm going to highlight them all. Import. Once again, go to where that file plot is at. This is going to be a PDF, A size. I already got my publish correlate set up. I have my location going to where it needs to go. And once I hit the publish, and if you want to make multiple copies of them, you can, but typically with these, you can. If you're going to an actual printer, you don't need multiple copies of a PDF. All right, so I'll go and hit the publish. And I'm just going to turn this off because I don't want to save it as a sheet set. I don't need any extra files that it's created. But if it's something that you're going to create over and over again, then I would highly recommend that you do save it as a sheet set. Okay? So this is for something that you constantly got a group of drawings that you're going to always print together. Then you would do this option. Okay. So I'm going to tell it no. And then at this point, it should be doing my publishing. All right, and this is one of those other things that's saying, hey, it is printing in the background. You know it's printing because if you look over here at this icon, you can see that it is printing. I'm just going to close this. And then I'm going to let it give me the button on the side of here where it tells me that it is done. Okay, and then I'll wait for a little bit. Now, if you can also check on this from time to time if you want to, if you hover your mouse over it, you will see that it is processing, and now you can see that it is closed. I'm going to open that PDF up, and then I'll verify that you can see that it is all in one. Okay, I found the location of where it's located at. You can see that it is one PDF, and if I'm scrolling through each different sheets, you should have them all listed on it. And you can see it's kind of holding up right now a little bit as it's loading the other sheets. And then there's that one, and then here's the gasket. And I must have had one on there that I didn't need because this one actually is in multiple sheets. But you can see what I actually did. So each one of these drawings, they're listed on their own separate sheets, but they're grouped all together. All right, I'll go ahead and close this. And then let's go back and take a look at the publish command. And you can see after I've created that one successful publish, now when I come here, I'm getting nothing but the model tabs. All right, I can go back and bring these back, but now what I have to do in order for this to work is that I have to have one successful plot of my layout tabs or this setting done. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of all of these assignments. And in this case, I think I'm just going to do one just so I can get everything back to the way it was. I'll go ahead and import my plot. And at this case, let's go ahead and print this one. I'm just going to tell it, since I know it's running in the background and that's what this icon here is doing, I'll go ahead and close that. Okay. So once it's done, and I'm going to go back to the publish command. Now remember, you can't go back to the publish command until this is finished. So you're going to have to wait a little bit until you get the successful publish icon here at the bottom. And like it gave me now I'll go back to the publish command. And you can see when I come back now, I'll get my layout tabs back. Okay, so now let's take a look at if we had to do with multiple, right? So you can apply the layout or the model space depending on whichever one you have or which one that you're used to doing. But in this case, I know that in this one that I don't have anything in the model space tab. I'm assignment 9, nothing on the model space, but I do have 2 in the layout tab. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. Underneath the intermediate, that's done in model space, so I know that these 2 are gone. Underneath building, that is done in the layout tab, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one and layout 2. Underneath day, that's a model space one, so I'm just doing these. Arc, should be 2 of them, so I'm going to go and get rid of the architectural model space. And you can see here I have these 2 drawings that are in different sheets or layout sheets, so I can get rid of that one. Kind of looking at my example 2, this is done in model space. So once again, I'm just going to get rid of these 2. My basic test, that was also done in the model space. I'm sorry, I think that was actually done in the layout tab, but I'm just going to carry on in this case. And then I have the gasket, which I know for sure is done in the model space. Okay. I'm going to highlight all of these, and this one is showing me an error. I don't know quite what's going on with that one. Let's go ahead and leave it the way it is for right now and see what happens. I'm kind of curious to see. All right, I'm going to use a Control A. So I'm in this white area. Do a Control A, and that's going to highlight everything. And you can see that because I have some of them mixed up between layout tab and model tab, I can't select that option, right? So what you're going to have to do is select all of your layout tabs together. And remember, I'm holding the control button down, selecting this one, this one, this one, and this one. Select this drop down, import. I'll go to plot. I'm going to use my layout A size for these. And you can see now that since these are all grouped together, I'm just going to hit this button and group those together. I'll select this one, and I can hold down the Shift button and select this one. And then I'll go to import this one as my PDF-A. All right, so I have PDF-As and these. Remember that I have them all grouped together with my publish correlate. And then I'm going to hit the publish button. And you can see that I have more one, and I'm just happy with that. And you can see that this one just needs to be updated. And that's what's going on with why it's kicking me a kind of a warning error. Okay, and then I'll give it a little bit, and I'll go ahead and let it publish. Once again, it is publishing in the background here. And I know that because my little printer icon over here should be telling me that it's doing something. So it's going to create 10 sheets. All right, so I'm just going to let that play for a little bit, and then we're going to see what happens. Okay, so after you've given it a little time, and you're going to get this pop-up here that just tells you that it was complete. So now let me go find the PDF so we can see exactly what it actually created. So see, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go find the one that was created today. Okay, so now when I open up the PDF, I notice that it is multiple PDFs, so it's not going to group it as one if you have multiple layout and model tabs. So that's something interesting that I find out. So it's probably best to choose either one or the other option. Either print all of your layouts and it'll group it into one tab, or if you group all of your model spaces and it'll group it into one tab. But you can see that it did create multiple PDFs that I went and found, which was, you know, neat to do if you got a lot of different sheets that you want to do individually. But, you know, the benefit of that is that you can probably use Adobe or another program like that and group them together if you want to do it later. But I guess the main important goal here is that you can see that you can do multiple printing on different sheets, and they do not have to be open, but, you know, there is a benefit to you if you do have them open. And what I mean by that is if I go to the Publish tab, and so if I didn't want any of this stuff that I have open to print, I'm going to select the top one, scroll all the way down to the bottom, hit the Shift button, go ahead and hit the Delete button. They're all clear, and then I can navigate by using this icon to whatever drawings that I want to print. Okay, so if you want to do something different of that nature, I can select multiple drawings here. And once I hit the select button, you're going to see that those appear. Now, once again, this depends on which one that you have open, if you have a successful model or layout tab. So all that stuff we discussed before. All right, so remember that you don't have to have them open. It's a benefit to having them open because they will automatically pop up here. But if you don't, you can always navigate to them. And I'm just going to use the delete button to take things on and off. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And thank you for watching this video, and hopefully this helped you understand how to batch print or publish a lot better. Thank you.